it was the Canadian Grand Prix 2 weeks ago, and of course, it being Canadian, it was going to be a right piss up. First of all, in qualifying, we have Latte Boy going to the top of the timing tower in Q3, but right after, Sergio Perez shows why he shouldn't have gotten that contract extension as he goes out in Q1, and also the two Ferraris out in Q2 after Charles Leclerc wins his home Grand Prix in Monaco. Obviously, nothing bad is going to happen to Ferrari after this. That's foreshadowing! So we head to the race then. And after George Russell and Max Verstappen set identical times in Q3, they line up side by side on the front row, and everyone holds onto their balls, hoping that George Russell can give us the greatest race of the season. Kind of didn't work out that way. It had been raining all weekend. God pissed it down for the first 18 laps of the race, and the track stayed wet for the rest of the race. Everybody starts on intermediates, apart from the two Hasses, who pull themselves out of the depths of hell up into 5th and 16th. Is that 16th? I don't have the race results on hand. I think it was 6th. Anyway, Kevin Magnussen should have gotten driver of the day, but instead it went to Lando Norris because he got a great afternoon. Who the fuck cares? But, of course, while all this was going on, Charles Leclerc came into the pits. Right before it was actually dry, he goes onto the medium tyres. And as I was watching this, I was thinking, the fuck are you going onto the mediums for? Use the soft tyres. As it turns out, everyone used their soft tyres during practice and qualifying. What the fuck are they playing at? So, they sent him out. He does really shit. And also, he has an engine failure. So, Charles Leclerc is out of the Canadian Grand Prix. And everyone coming into this weekend was like, is the Max Verstappen versus Charles Leclerc title battle on? No, it was never going to be on because he's driving for Ferrari and their engines around Canada turned out to be shit. And then what happened? Sergio Perez fucked it into the barriers right after Logan Sargent fucked it into the barriers, kept going but retired anyway. Sergio Perez lost his rear wing, came into the pits and was out of the race, started 16th, ends the race out of the points, and we're calling Lance Stroll the biggest failure in Formula 1. Sergio Perez should not have that Red Bull seat. Give it to Liam Lawson now! And that's not even the worst of it. After this, the two Red Bull rejects, Alexander Albon and Carlos Sainz, come into a conflict around the end of the race. And guess what happened to both of them? They're both out. Ferrari has a double DNF. What the fuck are they playing at? And people say that they should keep Carlos on for 2025 instead of bringing in Lewis. Lewis hasn't DNF'd. He had not DNF'd when it was his fault. Same with Charles. Lewis's DNF in Australia was an engine failure. Charles's was also an engine failure. Carlos Sainz fucked himself onto the grass. Maybe it was Alex. But either way, couldn't avoid him. So they're both out. Their fault. And then at the front, what happened? Karma for Lando Norris. Because the exact same scenario that gave him the win in Miami happened to Max Verstappen, and that gave him the win. Although, it should have been George Russell if he didn't fuck himself out of race-winning contention coming out of the hairpin. So Max Verstappen wins the Canadian Grand Prix. Lando Norris is second, George Russell is third, Lewis Hamilton is fourth. Mercedes get their best result of the season, despite it only being third, when it easily could have been a race win. Lewis Hamilton fucks himself in qualifying, saying that was probably one of the worst races he's ever driven, and still he got fourth. So I'm just sitting here like, alright, You should have done better in quali, mate. I'm your fan, but you still need to do better, Lewis. And Ferrari are not going to win the world title this year. At least their drivers won't. They might win the constructors. That's delusional. McLaren has a shot. But coming into Spain, the one title battle we need to be looking at is Lance Stroll versus Yuki Tsunoda. That's a lie. The title battle that we need to be looking at is Oliver Behrman versus the Stragglers. Oliver Behrman, after 8 races in the 2024 season, only competed in one of them, scored 2 points on debut, and is currently 13th in a 21 cars championship. Logan Sargent is currently last, 21st, and they're keeping him on. I'm pretty sure Williams might actually be keeping on Logan Sargent. Everyone's saying that it's going to be Carlos Sainz or maybe even Leah Block if they actually really want to have a woman in F1. Or hell, think about it. They could theoretically put Esteban Ocon in that seat, but I think they're going to put Logan Sargent in that seat because it's Williams and they hate change. They had the exact same facilities from 1997 all the way up into and through the 2022 season. They don't like change. Anyway, what was I talking about? That's right, the Spanish Grand Prix. Anyway, for the Spanish Grand Prix, here are my predictions. After FP1 and FP2, with Lando Norris on top in FP1 and Lewis Hamilton in P2, I think that Max Verstappen is going to win the Spanish Grand Prix by 18 miles. Then it'll be Lando Norris, then Oscar Piastri, then Charles Leclerc, then Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz, and George Russell. Sergio Perez will cause a massive multi-car pile-up on lap 3, and Max Verstappen will never win another race this season. That last one probably won't come true.